So after you have all assessed or tested and evaluated the things, I am here to show you how the test can be developed. Fine. So my topic for today is stages of the test development. Now, before telling you what are those stages, I would like to tell you what is test development. Test development is simply a process through which you can develop or you can produce a test, right? Test development is a teamwork. It's not an individual's work. If an individual does that, there are some limitations or difficulties in his work, because an individual can't look. He looks at his creation subjectively. Right? If I create the test, what will happen that whatever I have written, I will not find my faults in that. That's what happens with our writing unit. So it's not an individual's work. It's teamwork, and the team produces a test. What are the qualities that should be there in a test maker? That is willingness to accept justified criticism of the items that he has himself written. Right? If somebody criticizes his test or suggests him some changes, he should be ready to make it, and he should have a native or near native command of the language, intelligence, and imagination. Now, the stages of general procedure for test construction. What are those stages? The first step is stating the problem. Various types of tests can be taken. For example, you have discussed that proficiency test and diagnostic test and the female test and all those tests. So once you are clear, or once you know the problem, or here the problem does not mean that there is a difficulty, but here the problem means purpose. So once you know that what the purpose of your test is, right, you can be you can be clear about what sort of material you want to use. Right, you can use different sorts of books. You can use the sample tests that are produced by various scholars. Now, when you use those sample tests, it doesn't mean that your test should be similar to those things. Every test is unique, so you should not imitate and reinvent the same wheel again and again. You can change the things. The second thing is write a complete specification for the test. Now, specification is a detailed description of the content of the test. The structure of the test. The structure may vary, right? For example, you will have different sections in your test. You may have different items in your test. So that way, what is the structure of your test? What timing you are giving to each section or the whole test? That can also be taken into consideration. What will be the medium of your test? For example, you can use pen paper test. You can give a test on computers. So all those things should be taken into consideration. What will be the satisfactory level of measurement? For example, the test should be the specification should say you that an average satisfactory level would be 80%. A student should achieve at least 80% in this test. That would be level. That level should also be discussed in this specification. Even how you will measure or how you will score that mark. That also should be documented in this specification. The third thing is write and moderate items. When you are done with all these things, you will write the test, right? And when you will write the test, you will pile up the huge amount of items. Now, when you will pile up the huge amount of items, you will have to moderate them. So, to moderate all those things, you will pile up the test to different scholars. And when you will settle those things to different scholars, you will have an authentic test in your hand. Now, what you will do for that? So you will try out the items and give it to the native speaker. Now you should take into consideration that when you give the things to native speakers, and if they find it difficult, then you should not give it to the non-native speakers. The thing is that if the response that is unexpected or unpredictable, the response that you have received from the native speaker is unexpected, then you should remove those items from your test. Then give it to the native speaker, give it to the non-native speaker, the remaining things that is there in your test. Give it to the non-native speaker. When you will give it to the non-native speakers, there will be two problems. Again, of administration and scoring. For example, if I want to test SEM 4 students, I will give the same process, same test to SEM 2 students. Now what will happen? That SEM 2 students will tell the things to STEM 4 students that this is going to be asked in your test. So there will be a problem of security of the test, right? So all those things will be taken into consideration. That doesn't mean that you can't give the test to non-native speakers, but you should find the appropriate group of non-native speakers then. The other thing is that analyze the result of the test, the trial, and make necessary changes. The next step is to make changes and calibration of scales. Now, calibration is the fine tuning. If you have seen in TVs, right? It's the fine tuning of the taste, right? You just fine tune the taste, attune the taste, adjust the taste, regulate it, and then you just the test is ready for validation. Now validity, Pooja has already discussed, but validity can be taken into consideration at different levels. If the test is high stake test, for example, it is taken publicly at a large level, then the validation is essential. But if the test is taken at an institutional level, right, then the validation is not necessary. But that doesn't mean that you should not at all validate the test. Then write handbooks for test takers, test users, and staff. This sort of handbook can be written, right, in which you can discuss different things. For example, you can tell what is the rationale of the test, right? What is the material that is given, or what are the things, which sort of test will be asked, how the test will be scored, and all those things can be discussed in those handbooks. Now, after preparing these handbooks, you can train your instructors or your invigilators with the same books and give it to them. To sum up, this is the cycle. Step-by cycle stages: test design, test specification, test development, test case, test implementation, then test runtime, test execution, test data collected, and test management. This whole phase, all the stages when the test pass, hence it is validated. Thank you.